सीतातप बात परिसन ए दिन जामिनी जागिरे सीतातप बात परिसन ए दिन जामिनी जागिरे विपल से विनु प्रबल दुर्जन विपल से विनु प्रबल दुर्जन चपल सुखलम लागिरे चपल सुखलम लागिरे भजहु रे मन श्रीनंदन जन अभय शरणार विंधरे येदन यौवन पुत्र परिजन इते कियाचे परितीरे येदन यौवन पुत्र परिजन इते कियाचे परितीरे कमल दल जन जीवन चलमल कमल दल जन जीवन चलमल भजहु हरिपद नीतिरे भजहु हरिपद नीतिरे भजहु रे मन श्रीनंदन नंदन अभय चरणार विंधरे दुर्लभ माधव जन्म सत्संगे दुर्लभ माधव जन्म सत्संगे तरहुए भव सिंधुरे तरहुए भव सिंधुरे श्रवण कीर्तन पाद सेवन दास्य रे श्रवण कीर्तन पाद सेवन दास्य रे पूजन सखी जन परिवेदन पूजन सखी जन परिवेदन गोविंद दास अभिलाष रे गोविंद दास अभिलाष रे भजहु रे मन श्रीनंदन अभय चरणार विंधरे भजहु रे मन श्रीनंदन अभय चरणार विंधरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे भजहु रे मन श्रीनंदन अभय चरणार विंधरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे भजो गौरे मन श्रीनंदन नंदन अभय चरणाय विंधरे। हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Does anybody want to do Hari Nam Sankirtan for around few minutes till Prabhuji joins? Can continue. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yes, Mataji. Dandavat pranams.
Dandavat pranams. Mataji, Prabhuji has
Yes,
joined Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yes, Mataji.
Anirudh Seva Prabhuji, Dandavat pranams.
हाँ, दंडवत प्रणाम माताजी। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्णा।
Yes, Prabhuji.
So I think time we can start, or what is the?
Yes, Prabhuji. We can start, Prabhuji. I've done a small kirtan.
Okay. So I'll start with the kirtan.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Yeah. जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी, यशोदानंदन व्रजनरंजन, यशोदानंदन व्रजनरंजन, यशोदानंदन व्रजनरंजन, यशोदानंदन व्रजनरंजन, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी, जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी, श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद, श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Jaya Radha, Shama Sundar Radha, Shama Sundar Radha. Jaya Radha, Muralidhar Radha, Muralidhar Radha. Jaya Radha, Ramana Radha, Ramana Radha. Jaya Radha, Gandharva Krishna Radha, Gandharva Krishna Radha. Jaya Radha, Madhava Radha, Madhava Radha. Jaya Radha, Vinoda Radha, Vinoda Radha. Jai Jagannatha, Jai Jagannatha. Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jai Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha. Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram. Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Vrindavan Dham, Jaya Vrindavan Dham. Vrindavan Dham, Jaya Vrindavan Dham. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Pancha Tattva, Jaya Pancha Tattva. Pancha Tattva, Jaya Pancha Tattva. Jaya Shad Goswami Gan, Jaya Shad Goswami Gan. Shad Goswami Gan, Jaya Shad Goswami. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. नाम संकीर्तन की जय। यामुष्पाद ब्रह्म प्रचकाचर स्तोत्र सदा सुनते देंगे तो बचन बच्चे संस्कृत प्रपाद महाराज की जय। इसकान संस्थापक का श्रील प्रपाद महाराज की जय। कृष्ण कृपा श्रील प्रपाद महाराज की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रपाद महाराज की जय। यामुष्पाद ब्रह्म प्रचकाचर स्तोत्र सदा सुनते भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। उनको आचार्य वृंद की जय। नम आचार्य श्रील ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपिनाथ राधा श्याम कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय। मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी द्वारका धाम की जय। गंगा में यमुना माई की जय। तुलसी भक्ति देव की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद all glories to somebody, all glories to somebody, all glories to all glories to all glories. Shri Guru Shri Gauranga Gaur Premanandi Hare Hare Gaur. Krishna, so welcome to all devotees for today's Bhagavatam Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya session, and we'll be taking from the third canto, 12th chapter, text 1 to 4. We'll start with the prayers. Om Agnan Timiran Dasya Gnananjana Shalakya Chakshunritamena Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakata Mahyam Dadat Sukdantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagara Raghunathanutam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savdutam Vijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagara Lalita Shri Vishakanutam Shah He Krishna Karna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopka Kantarada Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shubhanu Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vanchakalpatarushya Kripa Sindhu Bhyo Chapatidana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhiriyet Nashtapraya Shabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Hare Krishna, can someone share the shlokas?
Yes, Prabhuji. Suma Mataji, is it possible for you?
Hare Krishna, I'm not able to share
Okay.
the screen, Mataji. I'm using a mobile.
Okay, Mataji. Sunita Mataji, is it possible? Or Ramakrishna Prabhu, is he there?
No, Mataji, I'm also using mobile.
Oh, okay. Okay, Prabhuji, I'll try to share.
Ha, please.
Just give me a minute, Prabhuji. Just give me a minute.
No problem.
Mataji, can I help you?
Yes, Mataji, if you're there, please do it, because I'm the host also, no? So it becomes a little difficult. Who was it? Shobha Mataji? Is it okay?
Hare Krishna, yes, Mataji.
Okay, Mataji, thank you so much.
What is the
3.12.1 to 4.
3.12.1.
3.11, right?
12, Mataji.
3.12.
3.12.1.
Can you find my login?
Screen is not yet visible, Mataji. Did you start sharing?
No, you need to, no, not in this name, Shobha Chennai. Don't make Shobha Chennai. Phoenix
Okay.
HR Shobha. Make that as co-host.
Okay. Yes, I've done it, Mataji.
Take a minute.
Are you able to do it, Mataji? Otherwise, I'll do it.
Actually, it is coming share, Microsoft, SharePoint, Google Drive, Box, Photo.
You have to click on screen, Mataji. You have to click on screen.
Can you see
and
now?
then keep the. No, it's not. It's okay, Mataji. I will do it. It might get delayed. That's okay, Mataji. I'll do it.
Yes, it's now visible.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Can I read the sloka? First sloka?
I'll just read the shloka in the text. Then I'll start with it. Then you can continue. I'll give the chance. So now we are in this 12th chapter, creation of the Kumaras and others. So the shloka number 1. Maitre Vacha iti te varnitah kshattah kalakhya paramatmanah mahima vedagarbhota yathas raksinibhodame. Maitre Vacha iti te varnitah kshattah kalakhya paramatmanah mahima vedagarbhota yathas raksinibhodame. Maitre Vacha इति ते वर्णितः क्षत्तः कालाख्याः परमात्मनः महिमा वेदगर्भोऽता यथा रक्षिन्निबोध मे. Word by word meaning, translation by Srila Prabhupada ki. Maitreya Vacha, Sri Maitreya said, iti thus te unto you, varnitaha described, kshattaha o vidura, kalakhyaha by the name eternal time, Paramatmanaha, of the super soul, Mahima, glories, Veda Garbhaha, Lord Brahma, the reservoir of Vedas, Atha, hereafter, Yatha, as it is, Asrakshit, did create, Nibodha, just try to understand, Me, from me. Translation. Sri Maitreya said, O learned Vidura, so far I have explained to you the glories of the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his feature of Kala. Now you can hear from me about the creation of Brahma, the reservoir of all Vedic knowledge. So there is no purport. We'll go to the second shloka. So now devotees can read in the order of their queue system.
Hare Krishna. Shobha Mataji, you can read the sloka.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji and Mataji. Bhagavatam 3.12.2 sloka. Sasajagre antatamisram athatamisram adikrit mahamoham cha moham cha tamaschapnyanaya vrathaya. Do you want me to read the synonyms, Prabhuji?
Translation, just a translation.
Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Brahma first created the Nissan engagements like self-deception, the sense of death, anger after frustration, the sense of false ownership, and the illusionary body conception or forgetfulness of one's real identity. Hari Bol. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, thank you. Yeah, somebody can read the purport. Next in the line.
Prashant Mataji, please go ahead.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji,
Hare Krishna,
Namo
Prabhuji.
Pranam.
No
Purport
problem.
by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Before the factual creation of the living entities in different varieties of species, the conditions under which a living being in the material world has to live were created by Brahma. Unless a living entity forgets his real identity, it is impossible for him to live in the material conditions of life. Therefore, the first condition of material existence is forgetfulness of one's real identity. And by forgetting one's real identity, one is sure to be afraid of death, although a pure living soul is deathless and birthless. This false identification with material nature is the cause of false ownership of things which are offered by the arrangement of superior control. All material resources are offered to the living entity for his peaceful living and for the discharge of the duties of self realization in conditioned life. But due to false identification, the conditioned soul becomes entrapped by the sense of false ownership of the property of the Supreme Lord. It is evident from this verse that Brahma himself is a creation of the Supreme Lord, and the five kinds of nescience which condition the living entities in material existence are creations of Brahma. It is simply ludicrous to think the living entity to be equal with the Supreme Being when one can understand that the conditioned souls are under the influence of Brahma's magic wand. Patanjali also accepts that there are five kinds of nescience as mentioned herein. Thank you,
Yeah.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna,
Thank you,
Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, no problem. Om Agnantimirandasya Gnananjana Shalaka Chakshuntimana Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Yeah. I think some volume has to be muted.
I've muted up.
Okay. So this is the chapter where we have come to the creation of the Kumaras and others. The previous chapter was the 11th chapter was all about the time, atom time, and how the time measurements are made. All those were mentioned, and that's also a very interesting chapter. How step by step the Lord is taking each one of these elements. Like when he started when Brahma had to do the creation, it's actually the secondary creation, the Visarga. So he had to pray. So he prayed to the Lord and he did all the required austerities, and then he got the empowerment. Then the divisions of the creation, that was discussed, like where we discussed about this Mahatattva, all the 24 elements, these were mentioned. Now, after that, that's all out of the Prakriti. Now, the discussion in the 11th chapter was about the time and the atom. So, as we understand that how the time is calculated and how the atoms, only the today's scientist from times we read from the science that atom was discovered by one scientist. Yeah, like that. I forgot the name.
John Dalton.
Dalton, yeah, Dalton, and about 500, 600 years back, whatever it is. So like that, they mentioned. But what is the explanation or what is the understanding of this atom? How it came into a picture, they actually don't know. And this atom is also recognized. We can see it, in fact. Not exactly the atom, but actually 6 atoms make one Trisha Renu. This Trisha Renu is actually found in the sunlight. I mean, when we see the sunlight and it is falling into your room or something, then we can see that there are so many tiny particles which are floating around, and with so much of in agitation there, and they are moving around. So this is that Trisha Renu, the 6 atoms combined. And when the 3 such Trisha Renus are combined, and it forms into a Truti. And so like this, how the time is measured, it is actually the the time which takes for the sun rays, the sunlight to affect an atom, how much time it takes to surpass or cover an atom, on that basis time is calculated. So in the previous chapter we came to understand that 1 second is made up of 1687.5 truthis. Okay, so that much minute. Now that is one divided by 1687.5 truthis, or that's the distribution. So today, when a race happens, 100-meter dash or something, so they calculate that in let's say 100th of a second. So that's the maximum probably what today's scientists can calculate, 100th of a second. But our scientists or our acharyas have given up to more than 1,000, almost 2,000 kind of a thing. And this is the Truti. So from Truti you get lava, you get kashta, you get so many other important things. I mean, as you keep multiplying it, you will keep getting the individual measurements. And finally, Prabhupada concludes that for 1 second, it actually contains for one lagu. When somebody says one lagu, it's actually 2 seconds. So that is and then nimisha. How much is a nimisha, and or a minute? So all that can be calculated, and in one muhurta there are 2 dandas. Danda we hear in Chaitanya Charitamrita, how they used to calculate that danda is actually 24 minutes, and one muhurta is actually 48 minutes. So like this, all these are scientifically explained. There's no ambiguity in all these explanations. And finally, Lord concludes that this time is actually the impersonal feature of the Lord. And so he's making all the arrangements because the aging process for a material body, living entity, is actually the factor of time. As the time keeps moving, the aging also happens. So this way, the calculations are all made. And now we come to this 12th chapter. In the 12th chapter, again, Maitreya Muni is talking about that I have explained the glories of the Lord, his feature, and now in the feature of Kala. So in the feature of Kala, I have explained in the previous chapter. Now you hear about the next aspect of the creation, which is again, now we're talking about in this chapter, we are understanding what is that the most important governing factor in this material world is actually the nescience. That is covered in the second shloka. So in this second shloka, Maitreya gives which are those nescience, which are those ignorance, the governing factor in this world. The root cause of all our material affliction is actually coming from avidya or ignorance. So that also Rupa Goswami has summarized based on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions. He has given everything in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And this 5, and as Prabhupada also gives, there are 5 basic components, various different varieties of this nescience also. So here, what the Lord is doing is that because the material world is actually a place of misery, is a place of fault, is a place of fight, it is a place of quarrel. So it's a temporary, all that. So he's making all the arrangements so that it's a perfect imperfect place. Make it imperfect very perfectly. So he's designing all the things, ingredients, what are required, and this ignorance and these factors are also very important. So that everything is being created. Once this is created, then he brings the living entity, and living entity out of their own choice, because a living entity is having the free will, independence. So it is taking its own choice, and then instead of trying to serve the Lord, is trying to want to lord over or enjoy or see Lord as a as the same level, something like that, out of envy, out of so many other misunderstanding. So he lands up into this material world. So he'll come to this material world. So now the conditions are being prepared here. So which are those 5 which are those 5 nescience, is explained in many of these scriptures. And even Bhagavatam also talks about all these things. And this shloka also talks about those 5 nescience, or the 5 factors of 5 varieties of ignorance. What are they? Actually, it is tamas. In the order, I'll just read out in the order. The shloka is Tamishra, Andatamishra, Tamas, Moha, and Mahamoha. So these are the 5 elements. So here we get all those 5. It is explained by Maitreya Muni. Tamishra, Andatamishra, Tamas, Moha, and Mahamoha. So all these put together are giving us this ignorance. So what is that? What is the explanation of these 5? Is that the forgetfulness. The first is the forgetfulness of one's real identity. This is the tamas. So this is the root cause of all our problems, because the living entity as such is Sachidananda Vigraha, but in a minute particle, is all knowledgeable, eternal, and all has the measure, has the capacity to enjoy. But unfortunately, because it is encased in this material atmosphere and this material body, so the soul actually starts forgetting. The first thing is that it is in these material conditions, it is the first thing that it does is it forgets its real identity. So then comes the moha. Once you forget that, then you always think that I'm the body. The person thinks I'm the body. It's me. Aham mameti. And so even Bhagavatam talks about that. Griha vitta sutapta. So we all try to accumulate. We need a land. We need a griha, house. Then apta, relatives. Then family. Then the society. So like this, vitta, money. So all these things will get start acquiring, attached, and then he'll talk and think in terms of this, which is actually the moha. Then comes the mahamoha. So this is again extreme attachment. Although the soul understands that all the objects or the pleasures or the opulences are there, owned by the Lord, and it is given by the Lord as a facility. He understands that, but still he thinks entrapped, and he thinks that is a false identity of an owner, that I am the owner, I should enjoy. Ishavasyam idam sarvam is the principle that which is there in the Ishopanishad. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kinchit. So as it says that how much is ever your quota, you are eligible to get that. If you are you cannot take something more than what is allotted to you. If you do that, then you will actually be doing a gross injustice. So that way he becomes mad after that material enjoyment and acquiring, exploiting resources, and then he gets into this Mahamaya. And when that conditioned soul is not able to attain those objects, because he's trying so much of struggling hard to get those objects and trying to be happy, unfortunately he doesn't understand that there is a diminishing marginal utility, or the moment you start enjoying, there is always a limitation. So Bhagavan again says in the 5th chapter that that for every sense organ in sense enjoyment, there is always there is a limit, and you cannot enjoy continuously. So that way he gets frustrated, and he develops more urge or anger, and that situation is called the tamisra. Forgetfulness of his constitutional position is because of this anger or envy. Yehi samsparshajo bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adi antava kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. So this is the shloka which Krishna gives in the 5th chapter. Yehi samsparshajo bhoga. That's the senses which are used for enjoyment, are Adi Anta. So it has a beginning and it has an end. So this is the crux actually. It has a beginning and it has an end. You cannot go on enjoying, and you cannot, even at the age of 80, you cannot have your taste of the tongue. You cannot be so healthy. You cannot be, running around doing some jogging or so many things. That body becomes very frail. So like this, all organs fail to grasp and you cannot eat more. Digestive system will not support. So like this, everything is aging, and there is an end. And one who understands, who is that intelligent person, understands this, and he will never embark on that phase. He will know that yes, these senses are also not helping me to enjoy, and let me stop. Let me use my senses for the service of the Lord. So this way he diverts his senses from his own enjoyment to pleasing the Lord. So that is samsiddhim haritoshnam. So that thing he does. But since the conditioned soul is not able to enjoy, and then he has more urge, and then he gets into anger, envy, and that position is actually the tamishra. Tamishra. And then finally, from that tamishra, it is anda tamishra. Anda means it's actually dark, or which is not, which cannot be seen completely. You are blind about it. And the condition to realize that his lifetime is not enough to enjoy, and still has material desire. He wants to live longer. He wants to fulfill his desire. He wants to do so many age-defying things he tries to do by some plastic surgery or some cosmetic. Want to look young. Everyone want to look young. They do so much of surgery, and then they do something, and then finally it's not going to help, because all these are artificial things. It will actually spoil their health, and it leads to finally that sense of fear of death. So that is called andatamishra. So like this, all these 5 conditions are are completely ingrained in this material world, and these are the ones which are actually going to affect the metal entity. So living entity has to be very careful of these 5. So this is the order in which we can understand these aspects of nescience. And therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Mahaprabhu came to deliver all our souls who are actually, we are all living in this all pathetic conditions of tamas, tamishra, andatamishra, moha, mahamoha. So they have come. So that's why Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the first chapter itself, he has glorified Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu by this wonderful shloka, very famous shloka, that he says that this one day Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahoditau. So Gauda Udaye Pushpavantau Chitrau Shandau Tamo Nudau. So that means he's telling that I am offering my respectful one day Sri Krishna Chaitanya to Nityananda Sahoditau, unto the 2 brothers who are actually like the sun and the moon. They have arisen. Sahoditau, sorry, Sahoditau is not Sahodara, Sahoditau. Simultaneously they have risen, and Gauda Udaye in the Gauda Desha, Pushpavantau. So Chitrau Shandau Tamo Nudau. They have come. Why? To dissipate this darkness of ignorance. Tamo Nudau. These 2 people have come and give benediction. Shan, Chitrau Shan, wonderfully give the benediction unto all the living entities. So that is the reason they have come. So that is how Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is glorifying, and definitely we need their mercy, benediction, because they are the Lord themselves coming and showing us how to be a devotee. So this is all the explanation about that, and also they gave us the medicine, the mantra, mantra also they gave, how we can come out of this. Once we are chanting, once we are engaged in the service of the Lord, in the deity service at home or in the temple, then satsang. So 5 factors, which again Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami gives, quoting Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that these are the 5 important elements that you require, which is basically the five pillars of which of our devotional service, the Harinama Kirtan, and then Satsang, then you have Bhagavata Shravana, Mathura Vasa, and Sri Murtira Seva. So these are the five important engagements that a devotee should be there, should be having. Once he is having, then he can easily come out of this five nescience. So that is also explained in various chapters in Bhagavad Gita, in Bhagavatam. Again, in the third chapter, there are so many references about these five nesciences. So that's what Prabhupada has also given very clearly. Before the factual creation of the living entities in different varieties, the conditions under which a living being in the material world has to live were created. Like I told, all the stage is set. Unless the living entity forgets his real entity, it's not impossible. It is impossible for him to live in the material conditions. So once the engagement, where the arrangements are made, normally he starts forgetting. Therefore, the first condition of material existence is forgetfulness of one's real identity. Once he forgets his real identity, he is finally going to be afraid of death, which is the final condition. That is the Andatha Mishra. That is the final. So like this, the false identification is the cause of the false ownership, which we discussed. And because of the false ownership, he goes into this trap, and then he starts accumulating things, and then his desires are not fulfilled. Then he actually comes to the final stage of fear of death. It is simply ludicrous to think the living entity to be equal with Supreme Being when one can understand that the conditioned souls are under the influence of Brahma's magic wand. So that way, it leads to his downfall. Hare Krishna. So we'll go to the text 3. Devotee can read, and somebody can read the
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Shloka 3. Drishtva papiyasim srishti natmanam bhava amanyata bhagavadhyana putena manasanyam tato shrujat. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Can read the translation also. Maybe purport can be shared.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Someone reading? Okay, yeah.
Please read, Mataji.
I read Mataji already. Hare Krishna.
Hare.
You can read.
Yes, please read, Mataji.
Translation by Divine Srila
3.12.
Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Seeing such a misleading creation as a sinful task, Brahma did not feel much pleasure in his activity, and therefore he purified himself by meditation on the personality of Godhead. Then he began another term of creation. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji.
You want the purport to be read, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Okay. Sindhu Mataji, please read purport.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Pranams Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Purport by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Although he created the different influences of nescience, Lord Brahma was not satisfied in performing such a thankless task, but he had to do it because most of the conditioned souls wanted it to be so. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 15.15 that he is present in everyone's heart and is helping everyone to either remember or forget. The question may be raised why the Lord, who is all merciful, helps one to remember and another to forget. Actually, his mercy is not exhibited in partiality towards one and enmity towards another. The living entity as part and parcel of the Lord is partially independent because he partially possesses all the qualities of the Lord. Anyone who has some independence may sometimes misuse it due to ignorance. When the living entity prefers to misuse his independence and glide down towards the nescience, the all-merciful Lord, first of all, tries to protect him from the trap. But when the living entity persists to gliding down to the hell, the Lord helps him forget his real position. The Lord helps the falling living entity glide down to the lowest point just to give him the chance to see if he's happy by misusing his independence. Almost all the conditioned souls who are rotting in the material world are misusing their independence. and therefore 5 kinds of nisigns are imposed upon them. As an obedient servitor of the Lord, Brahma creates all these as a matter of necessity, but he is not happy in doing so because a devotee of the Lord naturally does not like to see anyone falling down from his real position. Persons who do not care for the path of realization get full facilities from the Lord for executing their proclivities to the fullest extent, and Brahma helps in that procedure without fail.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. So here we understand that even Brahma, being a Vaishnava, he was also feeling, not much pleasure in, doing all these things, but he was ordained by the Lord to do it, and then he's just, he did his duty. And at the same time, as the shloka says, that he got purified himself by the meditation of the Lord. So he's doing that activity, that's why whatever we do as on the instructions of the Lord is actually going to be perfect. It could be a like how Arjuna was engaged in that Dharma Yuddha, in that Kurukshetra battle, although he knew that he's going to commit sins, so many things are getting affected. But unfortunately, so many people will be killed, so many people will become widows, Varna Shankara will happen, all these things. But unfortunately, at that point of time, because of the situation, he was on the bodily platform. So that's why Krishna had to give him the Gyan on the spiritual platform. And that is how he started with the explanation of the soul and all his all the soul's characteristics, and how he just instructed him that you become my instrument. That's all. Become an instrument in my hands. So that nimitta matrena savyasachi. Just become an instrument in my hands and just execute. Don't worry about all these materialistic afflictions, because what you are trying to do for the service of the Lord is actually beyond the all this bodily platform. For example, Prabhupada also gives this nice example that when the soldiers who are fighting for the country, when they are in the border, or when they go and wage a war, actually they are taking such very serious steps. They are bombing the assailants, they're bombing the enemy, they are fighting with them, they're killing many of these soldiers. So many things are happening, and the best who is fighting best for his own country, at the end is actually awarded. He gets Paramvir Chakra, Veer Chakra, Mahavir. So many chakras he gets with the gallantry awards. All those things he gets. Why? Because he fought for the nation. He fought for the country, sovereignty of the country. So because of that, there will be recognition given by the government. What he's doing, actually, he's doing a sinful job, violent activity, but he's doing for the service of the country, service of the president, service of the. So similarly, whatever we are doing, irrespective of the fact whether it has a papa, punya element or a bodily platform, whatever it is, we just have to do the activity under the guidance of the Lord, and that's it. So you will be completely bereft of all those afflictions. Whereas the same soldier, if he comes in the public, and when he comes to his hometown, or when he is going some other place, and he might be in his dress or may not be in his dress, but then he uses the same service revolver and then shoots somebody and kills somebody, then what happens? The law will take its action. Law will be punishing him because he did it for his own fulfillment of his urges, and he did a crime that is considered as a crime, and he is put behind bars, he is jailed. All those things will happen. So if you're doing it on your own action, and then you're not heeding to the laws of the government, then you'll become a culprit. You'll become a criminal, and you'll be taken action on you. Whereas you're serving for the Lord, serving for the government, you're actually liberated, or you're in a better position, or you're actually appreciated. So this we have to understand. So similarly, Lord Brahma is finally, he got purified, and then he was simply meditating. So that's why Purandadasa has given one kirtan. In that he says, Adadella valite aitu. Nama Sridharana sevege sadhana sampataitu. So this is the kriti he composed when he had to actually surrender all his wealth When the Lord came, Panduranga Vittala came in the form of Brahmin, and then he started, asking him for the money to conduct his son's Upanayanam. He came for about 6 months every day to his shop, and then he was begging. But then this man, although one of the world's richest person at that point of earth, at that point of time on this earth, he never used to give a single paisa. He was so conjuice, and he was so much a petty minded, that he was never giving away the money. And then finally Lord had its own way, and then he took it through him. So when he had to finally realize the Lord, that the Lord only he came to meet me, and then he was asking money from me, and all that he came to know the pastime, then he surrendered to him, and then he said that whatever has happened for my good. And whatever I have done by chanting the holy name, and by difficult times, we get difficult times, and actually and we most of the times we get scared, or we think otherwise. But actually when difficult times are there, we should be more serious and concentrate on the holy name, and then seek the mercy of the Lord. And that actually is very important, and that becomes your wealth. Sadhana sampatta itu. Whatever sadhana you have done at that time, it will actually be your wealth. But if you don't do that sadhana, or if you are not in a prayerful mood, or think that no, let this problem come, this is always there, I don't care, I don't want to surrender to Lord, why I should pray to him, he did bad to me. Most of the people are under that impression that Lord is making all bad things to me. He is giving all bad effects. So they start cursing him, they start ignoring him, and then actually commit so much of offense. And unfortunately, that's not the case. That's why Kunti Maharani was telling, give me always the trouble, so that I can always be in your meditation. I can always pray you. I can always, of course, we cannot be in that standard. It's too difficult for us. But at least there is some that kind of mood should be developed, that we never forget Krishna, whether it is in pleasant times, happy times, or in the difficult times or the worst times. We should never forget, and always remember Krishna. So this is the principle. So like this, Brahma's situation, Pigment situation. And now Prabhupada tells that although he created different influence of nescience, Lord Brahma was not satisfied in performing such a thankless task. Because he had to do it. Why? Because the conditioned souls were going to come occupy the material world, and it had to be everything had to be set. So he had to do it just under the order of the Lord. And as the Lord has also given his Sarvasya Chaham Priti Sannivishto Matta Smritim Gnanam Evancha. Matta Smritim Gnanam Apohanam Cha. So all these he has given. Matta, intelligence, Smriti, or the remembrance, and Apohanam, we can also forget. This is all he has given. This is again getting prepared. So one who forgets the Lord, he faces the difficulty. Or one who shows his love to the Lord, and one who remembers the Lord will get liberated. So like this, the living entity as part and parcel of the Lord is partially independent, because he partially possesses all the qualities. Anyone who has some independence may sometimes misuse it due to ignorance, and he will fall into the trap. So here Prabhupada is also talking how Lord is not partial. He is not partial. But for a devotee, he is partial. For a person who is not a devotee, or who is against him, who revolts against him, he just leaves him like that, and he's not going to help him. But somebody who comes close to him, somebody who wants to serve him, somebody who remembers the Lord, he will automatically reciprocate, and then he will, as Prabhupada says, when the living entity prefers to misuse his independence, glide down towards nescience, the all-merciful Lord first of all tries to protect him from the trap. But when the living entity persists in gliding, he is hell-bent. No, I don't care. I will let it happen. I'm not going to surrender. I'm not let you do whatever. And he doesn't take the shelter of the Lord. He is going to glide down to the hell, and the Lord will help him to forget the real position. So this is the nature. So that's why Krishna also gave in the Bhagavad Gita that famous shloka in the 9th chapter, that samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshosti name priyaha ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya Mayi teteshu chapyaham. So that is the principle. Samoham. I am partial. I'm not partial to anyone. I am equal to all. And sarvabhuteshu. Name dveshosi, name priyaha. I'm not inimical to anybody, or I'm not an enemy, or I'm not a friend. This is on a general category. But what is the special category? The exclusive position he gives. Ye bhajanti tu maham bhaktya. The one who renders worship to me, does the aradhana, and one who is completely in devotional practice and with loving devotional service he does, mam bhaktya mayi teteshu chapyaham. I am a friend to him, and he is also in me. So like that, he's explaining the position of his relationship. That is very important. And then finally, Prabhupada says that how by misusing the independence, we are going to suffer from this nescience. And a position of Brahma also, or as an obedient servitor of the Lord, Brahma creates all this as matter of necessity, but he's not happy in doing so, because a devotee of the Lord naturally does not like to see anyone falling down. He's also Vaishnava, Paradukha Dukhi. So he doesn't want somebody to suffer as a Vaishnava. So he's just doing it as a matter of practice or as a matter of instruction, and then praying all that the Lord will help them deliver. So like this, that is the mood of Brahma in this secondary creation. Yeah. So fourth shloka, somebody can read and can conclude.
Anita Mataji, you can read, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Sanakam cha sanandam cha sanatanam atham athatma boho sanat kumaram cha munim nishkriyan urdhvareta saha. Translation.
Mataji, translation, can we give Naukishori Mataji to read?
Okay, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In the beginning, Brahma created four great sages named Sanaka, Sanatana and Sanat Kumara. All of them were unwilling to adopt materialistic activities because they were highly elevated due to their semen's flowing upwards. Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Prabhuji, Subhra Prabhuji, you can read the purport.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Although Brahma created, purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Jai. Although Brahma created the principles of nescience as a matter of necessity for those living entities who were destined to ignorance by the will of the Lord, he was not satisfied in performing such a thankless task. He therefore created four principles of knowledge: Sankhya, or empirical philosophy for the analytical study of material conditions; Yoga, or mysticism for liberation of the pure soul from the material bondage; Vairagya, the acceptance of complete detachment from material enjoyment in life to elevate oneself to the highest spiritual understanding; and Tapas, or the various kinds of voluntary austerities performed for the spiritual perfection. Brahma created four great sages, Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumar, to entrust them with these four principles of spiritual advancement. And they inaugurated their own spiritual party or Sampradaya, known as the Kumara Sampradaya, or later on as the Nimbarka Sampradaya, for the advancement of Bhakti. All of these great sages became great devotees, for without devotional service to the personality of Godhead, one cannot achieve success in any activity of spiritual value. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. Yeah. So this shloka is talking about how the Kumara Sampradaya came. So we know that there are 4 authentic, authorized sampradayas in the Vaishnava philosophy. The first is the Madhva Sampradaya, which is actually Brahma, the knowledge flowed from Krishna to Brahma, Brahma to Narada, Narada to Vyasdev, Vyasdev to Madhvacharya, and from Madhvacharya it branched out, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then we have our Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, and the Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, where ISKCON is following. So like this is the one of the authorized Sampradaya. The second is actually the Sri Sampradaya, which is they are all worshippers of Lakshmi, where Lakshmi is the consort of Narayana, and then they go through Vishwaksena. Vishwaksena is the Lord who actually guides them. Like in the Madhva philosophy, Madhvacharya is actually Vayuputra. He is an incarnation in the Kali Yuga of Vayu, God. So he came as Hanuma in Treta Yuga and assisted Lord Rama, and Bhima in Dwapar Yuga assisted Krishna, and then in Kali Yuga Madhvacharya came and assisted the Lord. So like this, these three principal avatars of Vayudev, and he came, and he's now, even today, Madhva philosophy, which is originating from Udupi, is proliferated all over the world. And there are so many mutts and acharyas, Swamiji is doing a lot of preaching in their own sampradaya. So that is the first one. Second one is the Sri Sampradaya, and we find that most of the South Indian temples, or even the North Indian temples also, many of them have this Ramanujacharya's their clan, and they're all the Sri Vaishnavas. They are following this, they are maintaining the temple, and most of them are archakas or maintainers of the temple. They are there prevalent, and they also do wonderful devotional practice, and they consider Narayana as the Lakshmi Narayana as the final their primeval god, or the primal deities. So like this is there, and then we have the Kumara Sampradaya, which is again it started with the Kumara, all the 4 Kumaras. Then Kumaras gave the knowledge to Sankyayana Muni. Sankyayana Muni gave it to this was heard by Parashara and Brahaspati, and Parashara Muni was the father of Vyasdev. And while they were reciting Bhagavatam, so Maitreya Muni, who is now in this conversation, Maitreya and Vidura, he heard, and he is now telling the same Bhagavatam to Vidura. So like this, this Sampradaya came, but I think in between there was some breakage, or there's not much information about this Nimbarka Sampradaya. But in the early 14th century, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there, or just before that appeared, this Nimbarka Sampradaya came into picture, and this Nimbarka Charya was residing in Mathura, Vrindavan, and then he was the first, actually, very prominent one who started this Radha Krishna bhajan, or the Radha Krishna glorification. So that is also mentioned, and they actually have many temples across India. In Bangalore also we have one temple in Indranagar, the CMH road. Radha Krishna temple is there, which is there from last 20-25 years, and those Nimbarka acharyas are doing the maintenance, and their Mahamantra is actually slightly different. So they say Radha Krishna, Radhe Krishna, Radhe Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Sham, Sham Sham, Radhe Radhe. So this is their Mahamantra, which again through Nimbarka Acharya it has been given. So they also have all the concepts of surrender, Sharanagati, and all the reading of the scriptures, and they are also worshippers of Radha and Krishna. And since they hail from the Vraja side, so they have a lot of their acharyas situated. And they also, Nimbarkacharya was not mentioned, it is said that was not mentioned by Sri Ramanujacharya or Madhvacharya in any of their writings. So it appears that he came after they left the world. And it is also mentioned in so many of the writings of Nimbarkacharya that he has referred Vallabhacharya, he has referred so many of the contemporary. And there was one Haridas Babaji, who actually was staying in Banke Bihari, today Banke Bihari's temple. So like that, there are many acharyas who were there. And Ramanujacharya's acharya sect, called the Ramanandi sect in the North India. So they were also there, living together. They were all the contemporaries, and they have exchanged a lot of views on this, and they have contributed significantly to this Vaishnava philosophy. Then the fourth one is actually the Rudra Sampradaya, started by the Vishnu Swami. Even he was there in the North India, and then not much is known about them. So like this, these sampradayas are very important, and as Prabhupada tells, that all these great sages became great devotees by doing extraordinary devotional service. And without devotional service to the Lord, they cannot achieve success, and that will not be of having any spiritual value. So like that, this is given. And then Prabhupada also gives that the four classes of knowledge, how that was distributed. Basically, the Sankhya philosophy, which was actually started, which was given by Kapila Muni, which we'll come across in the 25th chapter, who is the son of Kardama Muni and Devahuti, daughter of Daksha. So like this, we come across his instructions, and Devahuti had to invoke the Lord. Kapil Dev himself came, Lord in the form of Kapil Dev, and then gave instructions to his mother. So there he has covered about this empirical philosophy. And then the yoga, of course, yoga is actually the mystic yoga, or the real yoga, which is actually the Patanjali started. And then there is a lot of Krishna Bhakti in that, and the focus is on Krishna's Krishna, to see Krishna as Paramatma in the heart. But today's yoga is all drained out, and it's actually filtered down. And today what we are doing is just for the bodily platform, but not much on the spiritual platform. Then the Vairagya, of course, this is there as a concept which is there in all the sampradayas, where you just have to renounce or make a complete detachment of anarthas, or unwanted things which come as a obstacle in our spiritual life. So then the fourth one is actually the tapas. Tapas is the one which you have to perform the austerities, so that you can become more perfect. And this is basically all to control senses, at the same time urges of the senses, at the same time elevate these senses to the higher platform. Param društva nivartate. Hare Krishna. So like this, the introduction is given on these aspects of the secondary creation, and we could discuss more about this ignorance and the different types of the principles of knowledge. Hare Krishna. So with this, I'll conclude this session. If anyone has any doubts, clarifications, realizations, they can share.
Prabhuji,
Yeah. Yes.
Can you please again repeat that four sampradaya? Like started and who is remaining now?
Yeah,
like
Brahma.
Who started?
Yeah. So Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya. No, sorry, Brahma, Madhva, Brahma, Narada, Madhva Sampradaya. That is today's Madhva philosophy, which is there, in the Udupi temple and the precincts, and they also have so many mutts. So that is started.
Is also same now, Prabhuji. ISKCON is also same now.
Yeah, after that only, the Madhvacharya's disciples, when they started preaching in the North India, so there is one Lakshmi Tirtha. He had gone to Vrindavan and he had gone to Badri while they were preaching. That time, they had given the Diksha to Madhvendrapuri. And from Madhvendrapuri, it was given to Ishwarapuri. And from Ishwarapuri, the Diksha was given to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is how our branch started. ISKCON, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Okay. So the second one is actually the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, started by Ramanujacharya. Third is the Kumara Sampradaya, started by Nimbarka Acharya. Then the fourth one is Rudra Sampradaya, started by Vishnu Swami.
Second one, Sri Sampradaya, is actually origin is from Lakshmi, Sri Lakshmi Devi person.
Yes. Of course, they root it through Vishwaksena. Vishwaksena is the presiding, guide, preceptor for them.
Then represented to Ramanujacharya.
Yes, he then, actually came in Kali Yuga to revive the Vaishnava philosophy.
Then Kumara Sampradaya is from Kumaras and
revived by Nimbarka Acharya.
Yeah. Any representative now, Prabhuji?
Yeah, there are so many Swamijis. If you go to the temples, they are there. They also wear a tilaka like this, Urdhva Pundra, but they put a black dot. So by just seeing the black dot, you can identify they are the Kumar Sampradaya.
That means Vallabhacharya. Vallabhacharya comes
So
under
Vallabhacharya is a pushti mark. That is a little different. In fact, Vallabhacharya was a contemporary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they had a lot of interaction. And he started that pushti mark. So that is again an offshoot. In fact, Vallabhacharya was given, Diksha was given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's a disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Vallabhacharya.
Then fourth
And he
Prabhuji,
started his
fourth one
Fourth
is
the Rudra. Rudra
Rudra.
Sampradaya.
Rudra
Yeah.
followed by how the evaluation from Rudra?
That's what it is. Actually, Rudra means it is Shiva. So Shiva was there as a preceptor, but in the Kali Yuga, it was through Vishnu Swami.
They preach what, Prabhuji?
Not much is known about them. Yeah.
Right.
Today we don't see that Sampradaya flourishing, but probably at that time, 500 years back or 1000 years back, it was there, and that is already recognized in the Shastras and by all the Acharyas.
They pray Vishnu or Narayana or Krishna?
They are all Krishna only. They're all Krishna Vaishnavas.
Right.
Like, for example, Rudra, the Shiva. Who is Shiva? Whose devotee is Shiva?
Shiva is Vishnu's devotee.
Yeah, Krishna's devotee. No, Vaishnavanam Yata Shambho. Okay. But he's taking the role of a Shiva so that he can control all the people in the tamasic mode. So Shiva is just a servant of the Lord. But at the same time, he's a very close, associate or, close companion for the Lord in assisting in this Vaishnava Sampradaya.
So, Prabhuji, practically only Brahma Gaudiya and Sri Sampradaya are active.
No, Madhva is there. Madhva Sampradaya. Nimbark also is there.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Haribol, Hare Krishna. Then Ramananda Sampradaya. If you go to North India, all the Tulsidas, Surdas, they all were Ramanandi Sampradaya, because Ramanandacharya also traveled all over the country, and he also had a lot of disciples in the north, in the west, everywhere he had. They all come under the Ramanandi Sampradaya. They also wear the red and white tilak, like that. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Any
Krishna,
other?
Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Dandavad Pranam. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this wonderful class. Prabhuji,
Yes,
my doubt is, now the 4 sampradayas you explained, na, Prabhuji. So,
Yeah.
through all of this, whatever the Mahamantra they use or they chant, Prabhuji, so all of them will get the same effect, just like people in ISKCON, is it, Prabhuji? Or that in the sense, self-realization is the same, they go back to Godhead. Is that correct, Prabhuji? Oh, Prabhuji, 1 second. Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you are on mute. I'm unable to unmute you.
Okay. In our Sampradaya, ultimately we are all it's all leading to Krishna, but there are subtle differences in terms of the bhava, the rasas. The rasa in a Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya is more of, dasya and a little bit of avant reference, shanta. Whereas in the Madhva Sampradaya, again, it is more of dasya and, avant respect, shanta. Okay? And in our Sampradaya, the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, the Gaudiya philosophy is on the Madhurya Rasa, because our ultimate goal of reaching is on the serving the Lord is through Radha Krishna, through Radharani, which is the conjugal love, Madhurya Rasa. Okay? So, whereas Nimbarka also have this conjugal love, because they also worship Radha Krishna. Whereas the Sri Vaishnava and the other one, the Madhva, they actually don't worship Radha Krishna. They don't have much knowledge about Radha Krishna, but they're all worshippers. They all accept Krishna as the supreme. So all the 4 accept Krishna as the supreme, but Krishna has his different pastimes, right? Leelas. Krishna is a Bal Gopal. Krishna had a youth. Krishna had a later life, much later life, youth life. So different rasas are there in different times. So like this, rasas are enjoyed. But most of the sampradayas are having under that rasa. But we and Nimbarka, both are in this, Madhurya Rasa, conjugal love.
So Prabhuji, if I understand right, all of them go back to Godhead and they get the same benefits just like...
See, they go back to Godhead means which Godhead? Spiritual world. Spiritual world starts from Vaikuntha. From Vaikuntha, you have so many, all the dhams are there. It could be Mathura, it could be Vrindavan, it could be Ayodhya. So like this, all dhams are there. And when you talk of Sri Vaishnava, they say Vaikuntha because Sriman Narayan is there, Lakshmi Narayan. So that is in Vaikuntha. So their understanding is about that.
So we can't, it will be wrong if we preach to Sri Sampradaya or anybody, na Prabhuji, without knowing, because their following path is different, na Prabhuji.
Yeah, no, see, they're restricting their attention only to Lakshmi Narayan and to Vaikuntha platform. Like I told you, the rasa is Shanta and Dasya. If you look at any Sri Vaishnava, if he sees any other Sri Vaishnava, he will say Adiyan. Adiyan means what? I'm going down to your lotus feet. So they are all in the Dasya. So they also have Dasa and Dasi.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, in this parampara also there are so many devotees, no Prabhuji, like who serve the Lord, like they feel Dasya Bhava and parental affection and so many.
Yeah, in Madhya Sampradaya we have so many Haridasas, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
And they have glorified Krishna.
In Golok also there are different layers, no Prabhuji, like those who have the Dasya Bhava will be on the outer.
In Golok also all these 5 platforms are there. I mean, Shanta is not there, but Dasya is there. Some devotees even in the Goloka platform also, they are just serving. They don't want to be in the Madhurya, Ras. But ultimate destination for them also is going to be because we're all Raganuga Bhakta, Rupanuga Bhaktas. So we all have to we have to go to that platform of Gopi Bhav. That is our ultimate summit. But we take little steps, and then depending upon our reciprocation with the Lord, we might just want to be a Manjari and just serve, assist the other gopis like that. And many of our acharyas were all Manjaris, right? So they even have not got to the Gopi Bhav, but they're Manjaris, but they're all top class devotees, right? All exalted, and some want to be in the Sakya. So Sakya is also there. So they just want to be in friendship, with Krishna.
Vatsalya, Prabhuji?
Vatsalya. Yeah, some want to be in Vatsalya. So all these 4 are there in the Golok, Vrindavan.
Prabhuji, is Lakshmi a demigod, Prabhuji?
Actually, Lakshmi is actually an expansion of Srimati Radharani. Okay? So, and demigod in one sense that she's having limited potencies, and she's again servitor of the Lord. Primarily, she's servitor of Narayana or Vishnu in the Vaikuntha, and in the final analysis, she is going to serve Krishna.
Okay, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Thank
you. Prabhuji, on Deepavali day, we do that. The next day, we do the Lakshmi Puja, na Prabhuji?
Yes.
So, from being my husband coming from the north, we have the practice of doing Lakshmi Puja. So, when we understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and we still do it, it's okay, na Prabhuji?
As what? Understand?
Prabhuji, when we understand, now that we understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so if we still do Lakshmi Puja, it's okay, na Prabhuji?
Yeah, but Lakshmi will only going to give you material comforts, material wealth.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Right? So that is a limiting factor. Because
that's what, Prabhuji. So I said Lakshmi Ashtotram and I said Vishnu Ashtotram also.
Her authority is restricted only to the materialistic propensities, but she can't grant you Krishna Bhakti, and which can take you to the spiritual world. So we have to be careful. And so many people do. Most of the people are fascinated by Lakshmi because they all want wealth. Because the problem is
it's not fascination. It's more because as ladies, we are compelled to do whatever is actually the family, this one, no Prabhuji, as tradition, whatever they go about. And if we say no to them, it's very difficult to make them understand, Prabhuji. Like,
so that's why what you have to do is you have to pretend as if you are praying to Lakshmi. All the prayers are there, but you are actually praying Krishna Bhakti to her.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. That's what I
Just
did, Prabhuji.
pretend as if you are a great devotee of Lakshmi. Do all the seva
Yes, Prabhuji.
in front of
Yes,
others.
Prabhuji.
But in your heart, in mind, you still simply pray that you give me Krishna Bhakti. She will grant you.
Yes, Prabhuji. Sure, Prabhuji.
But
Thank
Prabhuji,
you,
we can
Prabhuji.
worship Lakshmi as a pure devotee of the Lord, no Prabhuji? There is no harm in that.
Yeah, she's actually, of course, she is a pure devotee. Yeah, you can always, you can always worship. And that's what the important thing is. What is the bhava? What bhava and which, you are aspiring for? Whether you just want to be in a servitor role or you want to be in a Madhurya role, because Madhurya is the highest platform where you can have direct access to Krishna.
I did not get you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. I didn't understand.
So that's what now they say, that if you have to, you have to aim for the sky, right? Maybe you'll reach the clouds.
Prabhuji, Vishnu worship and Krishna worship. What's the difference, Prabhuji?
Vishnu is actually he's the one who is taking care of this material world. You have heard about these three Gunavataras, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So this Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara are the three entities or the three receptors who are going to take care of this material world. Brahma is taking care of all the people who are worshipping the mode of passion. Shiva is all taking care of all those devotees who are worshipping the mode of ignorance, tamas, and Vishnu is the one who is taking care of all those devotees who are worshipping in the mode of goodness. So that is their role. So once you understand Vishnu, that he is, he's our Lord as an expansion, but he has come from Krishna. Krishna has expansion of Krishna is Vishnu.
So we can do Vishnu worship also, no? Recite Vishnu Sahasranama.
Vishnu Sahasranama, but then at the end, as you see, if you have read the Vishnu Sahasranama in the Falashruti, what does Shiva say to Parvati? Sri Rama Rama Rameti Manorame Manorame Sahasranama Tutulyam Rama Nama Varanane. If you are telling one name of Rama is equal to 1,000 names of Vishnus. So that is, so like this, if you are doing for Vishnu worship, probably you are in the Shantarasa. It's a very basic level, awe and respect. But you have to come above that platform to worship Rama or Krishna, then you will probably come in the Dasya Bhava. You are taking one step ahead and become a servant of the Lord. So, and that's what it is said. Now, 3 times taking Rama is equal to one name of Krishna. Like that.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Any other doubts, devotees? Otherwise, we can end the class. Hare Krishna. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for such a wonderful class, Prabhuji. We'll conclude with
somebody is asking Satyanarayana different from Vishnu. Satyanarayana, actually, Vishnu is a very, very, it's a generic term, Vishnu, because Vishnu means what? The meaning of Vishnu in Sanskrit is all pervasive. He's there in every atom, he's there. That is Vishnu. That is Vishnu. And Vishnu was actually highlighted and brought into focus more by the Shaivas. Shankaracharya wanted to bring in Vishnu among the Panchapasaka. So he brought Vishnu, and then he said that Vishnu has to be also worshipped along with Shiva, Parvati, or Durga, Ganesh, and Suridev. So that is how Vishnu became so prominent, and people are so much getting confused about this Vishnu, and then they go on the Vishnu Avatara, Dashavatara, and all that. But actually, they have to understand that the scripture is telling Krishna as a supreme, and from Krishna there are so many expansions. And from Narayana, actually from Krishna we have Chaturvyuha, the first Chaturvyuha, which is the Vasudeva Sankarshana Pradyumna Aniruddha. Then you have the second Sankarshana, Vasudeva Sankarshana Pradyumna Aniruddha, second Chaturvyuha. And from that comes Lord Narayana, who is in Vaikuntha. From Narayana comes a lot of Guna Avataras, Vishnu Avataras, Vishnu's forms, all these things. So Satyanarayana also is under the under the Narayana in that category. Yeah. Again, Satyanarayana, if you read into Satyanarayana stories and all that he's going to give you is all material. It's more of karma kanda. So he's meant for that practice karma kanda, where you are going to get returns or get results whatever activities you do, fruitive activities, you have to get a result. So that is all more on the karma kanda based, and you're probably going to be in the dasya, in the shantarasa, and staying in this earthly planet. But the real solution is whether are you going to get out of this from this material solution, material problems. So that can happen only if you transcend this mode of goodness, which is the Krishna Bhakti platform. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I think
Hare
we can
Krishna,
conclude the
Prabhuji.
session
And
with
final question, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, bro.
In this last sloka, you said Brahma created 4 principles of knowledge.
Yeah.
That is Sankhya, Yoga, Vairagya, and Tapas. In that 4, where do the japas sit, Prabhuji?
Actually, this is the 4 principles of knowledge. Okay. So this is how we can get the knowledge, or the basics of the knowledge. When we talk of knowledge or the gyan, so these are the 4. If you have to acquire knowledge, it can come through by doing all these study. Okay. But as a chanting is actually your actual process of doing things. It's actually an activity, the chanting, and that is the dharma. It's actually the sanatana dharma of an individual soul, which is actually the duty, the rightful duty, which is actually the chanting. So one is the gyan on the probably theoretical side, and the practical side is the chanting. By chanting process, you will get you'll get to the platform of bhakti. By doing bhakti, you will get bhakti. That means more devotional service.
Could we say it as a part of tapas, Prabhuji? Because it's one of the austerities we do to the Lord. Is it right?
Yeah, austerities again, like we did Bhishma Panchaka, we did Ekadashi, right? We do so many austerities. Is just to curb our senses and to engage ourselves more in Lord's and become more perfect. So that means it is like taking by austerities, you are actually taking a lift instead of climbing a stair. Yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for this wonderful class. We'll end the session with Vaishnav Pranam, Prabhuji. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo Ananda Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
With your permission,
Hare Krishna.
shall I end the session, Prabhuji?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, devotees. Meet you all again tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. I'm ending the session. Hare Krishna.